for being here. We're going to see who joins. 1 a.m. live streams are just my Hangout streams. We're going to see who joins and anything you guys want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. Anything else you want to talk about? I may take a few moments to just chat about what I've got planned for approximately 2 weeks from now, or a week and a half almost, which is crazy. And yeah, I hope you guys will take a few moments to let me know how you're doing. And like I said, anything you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral. What I'm going to do is make this a poll question because it's what we talked about on the 1 p.m. stream, the most recent stream I did. So let's see what the people have to say. I'm just doing this poll question now. We're going to give it a few minutes. We're going to see who joins. And anything you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. Ryan, how's it going, Ryan? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. A night owl like me. I hope your night is going well, or your day is going well. Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I'm doing well. Don't forget to send me that message or send me that email with your shipping address so I can mail you that stuff next week. There we go. Thank you so much for joining, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. How's it going for yourself? What's up with you? Tomorrow's today's technically 1 p.m. stream will be a pretty relaxed stream. That's another just hanging out and chatting stream. So I'm not going to go have any specific topics. We're just going to talk about stuff in general. How's the MacBook looking? How am I sounding? How am I looking? How does this big ugly mug look and sound in the world of MacBook? I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I hope I'm not affecting your sleep too much, though. If you find yourself very tired, you have my permission to get yourself to sleep. But that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Is Red Display, is that what's on the MacBook? Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys will take a moment. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Any questions you have about Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, any thoughts on Freemasonry, please let me know what you guys are thinking in terms of your favorite sports, favorite Masonic athlete, and just any questions or thoughts you have about Freemasonry in general. If you have positive views, negative views, whatever it is about Freemasonry, please let me know. Thank you, Chris. This is actually the same camera I normally use. Maybe the lighting is better. Maybe I should remember how I got the lighting set up. We got Courtney here. We got Chris. Thank you so much, everybody. Please, like I said, take a moment. Hit like, hit subscribe. Tell me, answer a poll question, your favorite of those 4 Masonic athletes. And what are your thoughts on Freemasonry? They can be positive thoughts, negative thoughts, neutral thoughts. I'd love to know what they are. Well, this weekend I'm going to be experimenting on my personal channel with some Masonic, with some different camera angles and stuff, getting ready for the next 24-hour live stream. So, which I'm looking forward to very much. That's going to be on August 21st. How's the sound? Is the sound the same, or do you think the sound is any better? It's got to be the way I've got the lighting set up, which is a good thing. I'm happy that potentially, like I said, I've got a better camera angle. I'm working on it. I am working on it. Right. How's it going with you guys? We got 4 votes so far. Let's see. Interesting. Favorite Masonic athlete, 2 votes for Shaquille O'Neal, 2 votes for Arnold Palmer. No vote yet for poor Ty Cobb. No vote yet for Jack Dempsey. I honestly would actually go with Jack Dempsey because I'm kind of a fan of boxing, a fan of some combat sports. So I feel like I'd have to go with Jack Dempsey. That's a good question, Chris. Maybe that's why people said it, Mr. Gibson. That's a really good question. There's nothing. How do I put this correctly, Chris? There's nothing negative about Freemasonry in theory. It's the implementation, right? It's not there. What's the expression? There falls a shadow between the idea and the implementation, which is almost always the case, right? Like using sports as an example. Football, in theory, is great. In practice, you have things like injuries, you have concussions, you have, potential abuse of steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. You have people, having problems with families because they're dedicating themselves to being sports. Like it's not the idea of Freemasonry or the theories behind it. It's the implementation and how we implement Freemasonry, right? And in that case, the biggest negative thing about Freemasonry is the fact that the average member, in my opinion, is not taking it seriously enough to allow the craft to grow. They're not showing up regularly enough. They're not dedicating themselves sufficiently enough to allow Freemasonry to reach its full potential and to help make the world a better place. And what happens is when the average member is not showing up regularly, you end up in a situation where a smaller and smaller number of members are being forced to do more and more work to make up the difference. They get exhausted. They feel abandoned. I felt abandoned by the lodge. So you decide you want to leave, and there's nobody to do the work, and then the lodge dies. Honestly, it's not old timers per se. Oftentimes it's younger guys. I mean, I've definitely had my words with them. I've never gotten into physical fights or anything like that, but I've definitely had my words with them. But the problem is, especially in North America, oftentimes, they will say work and family comes first. They'll almost give an excuse or allowance for laziness, which, again, puts more and more pressure on a smaller and smaller number of people. And that's the biggest challenge. And I don't know how to fix it, but I'm working on it. I think part of it is we need to do a better job at explaining why it's important that Freemasonry exists and why it's worth sacrificing for. To make anything great, you need to be willing to sacrifice for it. Mac Go Payne praise. I am from Winnipeg, Manitoba, but currently live in Windsor, Ontario. Mr. Milk Dud, I mean, I'm really sorry you saw that. If you're being serious, that really sucks. I hope somebody called the police. I hope, or the ambulance or 911. I hope both people were okay. Both guys were okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, and it's like a negative again because Freemasonry has potential to do so much good in the world and does so much good in the world that if a lodge goes dark, all the ability it has to do well kind of goes away. So I think the biggest challenge is we as Freemasons in North America do not take it seriously enough, and we are allowed to not take it seriously enough by our Grand Lodges. It's not the fact we don't take it seriously enough, it's the fact that our Grand Lodges allow us to not take it seriously enough. Mandy Simpson, hello. Marco Prayers, I'm doing well, brother. How are you doing? To everybody joining the stream, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button if you are new to the stream. Because we do have some new people here, which is wonderful. And thank you, everybody. This is a channel about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, please put them in the chat. Any questions you have. I hope I answered the question about the negative, negative views of or negative issues with Freemasonry. Again, I think Freemasonry is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's the way it's implemented, right? Mr. Keeps on Ticking, you might have the same views somewhat with Knights of Columbus, right? Where maybe in your mind as well, it's not so much Knights of Columbus that has anything negative, but the way it's implemented or the way it's treated by the membership sometimes. It depends. It depends on the lodge and the bylaws and the jurisdiction. Usually, oftentimes, it's two. Um, so, um, Oftentimes it's two, but it depends on the jurisdiction and where you're at. Um, so George Washington was a Freemason. He's probably the most famous Mason in the world, honestly, both past, present, and future. In my opinion, he was the most, um, what's the word I'm looking for? He was the most famous Freemason, the most person who's most well known for being a Mason amongst everything else, right? The first Freemason, in my opinion, I would call it Sawyer, uh, who is the first Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of England. Was it Anthony Sawyer? I'm trying to think of the name now. Um, Sayer, sorry, Anthony Sayer. Anthony, Sayer. That's true. That's a good point, Courtney. Um, you're not wrong about that. They do often have personal priorities and situations, and we are told to put family and work first. The problem is if everybody does that, it's very hard to make a lodge function. You need to be willing to make sacrifices for your Masonic lodges as well. That doesn't mean every time. I certainly don't expect a Mason to attend every meeting. That's not possible. They get sick, their family gets sick. But I think we can expect more from them. Like, I believe, at a minimum, we should expect every Mason to attend at least 2 meetings per year. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and that's not an expectation that exists, at least not in North American Freemasonry. Burger King. Well, you can't donate because we don't have that, but you can donate Cake Man through Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Square and Compass, you can make donations there. Burger King, I am not a Christian myself, but thank you for Burger Sleuth, I should say, excuse me. Thank you for what you said there. I'm not a Christian myself, but I respect your religious beliefs in Jesus. And I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. Cake Man, also, if you don't want to go to Patreon, but you want to support the channel, liking and subscribing helps hugely. And does answering a poll question. No, not at all, Chris. I know many Middle Easterners who've joined AF and AM Freemasonry, for example. So, no, not at all. Honestly, if you're from the Middle East or in the Middle East, I would not be surprised if they did not have Prince Hall there. Well, so I think that's a bit of a misnomer, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. So I think women are allowed in Freemasonry. I consider Eastern Star, I know you don't, to be Freemasonry. I also consider the Order of Women Freemasons to be Freemasonry, as does United Grand Lodge of England. So I call those women my brothers as well. Now, it is the case that in my Masonic Lodge and Masonic Lodges, right, they are the fraternal side of the order, so it's men only, and the Order of Women Freemasons, it's women only. And I think, or women exclusively, men exclusively, and I think that's the appropriate way to do it. I think we should be respectful of Order of Eastern Star. We should be not just respectful, we should be welcoming of them as part of our Masonic family. That includes Order of Women Freemasons. But I think one of the strengths of Freemasonry is that it provides an opportunity for men of different beliefs and political groups to gather. No different than a men's night out or a boys' night out, right? Or whatever it is. Like, I think there's a value in not male exclusive spaces, but male exclusive times, right? Where this time is set aside for men to associate with each other, to talk sometimes about, what it means to be a man, which happens sometimes in Freemasonry, and how we can be good men. Just like I think it's appropriate for there to be exclusive times for women to meet alone and talk about what it is to be a woman and their points of view. So I believe it's appropriate to have, the fraternal side of Freemasonry and the sorority side of Freemasonry. I have great respect for the Order of Women Freemasons. I don't knock them at all, but and I think one of the mistakes that we at Freemasonry have made through the years, and UGLE is rectifying it, which I appreciate, is not showing enough respect to the Order of Women Freemasons. I think they're a wonderful organization, and I'm proud to call them part of my Masonic family. But again, when I go to my Masonic lodge, one of the reasons I'm going for is to take part in basically a boys' night out, a night on the town with the boys. And you can talk about things that, what it is to be a man as part of Freemasonry. What is a woman? Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I feel like you're throwing a flag out there for the Daily Wire crowd, which they're welcomed on the stream, but they're going to be disappointed in me because I'm not a huge fan of the Matt Walshes of the world. Language is tricky. As a general rule, I'd say a woman is someone who identifies with traits and characteristics on the more female end of the gender spectrum, if you will. I don't think Kane is a Freemason. People say I look like him, though, so I'll take it because he's a handsome fella. And he's a big, scary dude, so, I would not want to mess with Kane, that's for sure. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Him and The Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction. Who gets the red card? Do I get the red card, that taco guy? Um, Once again, I've talked about it before in terms of the because I think What Is a Woman was that transgender documentary from Matt Walsh. My view on it, I think the best approach that has been taken when it comes to trans issues in Freemasonry is the United Grand Lodge of England's 2018 decree. Um, you're not wrong, Courtney. Making lodges more appealing both in terms of how they look, as well as how they like taking care of the interior and exterior so they look good and are welcoming that way, as well as appealing in terms of what we talk about and do in the meetings. Um, so the Grand Lodge of England, it was 2018, basically said that if you are, born biologically female but transition to male, you are you join the fraternal, you join Freemasonry. You can join the fraternal side of Freemasonry, and that it's nobody's business in terms of your biological sex at birth. You don't have to tell them, nor can anybody, or should anybody ask you, or if you learn what it is, share that information with others to maintain privacy. Now, there are different jurisdictions in the states that have different views. You can kind of guess maybe what those states might be. But yeah, no red cards for anybody. I like Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I appreciate him being here very much. But I think that's the best approach. And for me personally, if I was sitting next to a trans man in lodge, I would have zero issues with it, and they're welcome to join. And vice versa, if you had a trans woman who I found out was a member of the Order of Women Freemasons, more power to them as well. You, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, I thought you might have that opinion. I think we're gonna have to just agree to disagree on this. Of course, partially, you might just not know. You need to keep that in mind as well. Um, in terms of you shouldn't be asking people necessarily what their gender was at birth. I don't think. Thank you, that taco guy. By the way, that taco guy, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/square and compass. That's a huge way to help and support the channel. And I would truly appreciate it if you did take a moment to hit the hit the like, subscribe button, but also go to patreon.com/square and compass. You say we are the sons of Cain. I don't know what that means. That strikes me as like a biblical. Thank you, that taco guy. I very much appreciate it. I'm not sure what exactly that means. Like that strikes me as a biblical reference. But again, I'm not very well versed on biblical. Like I'm not very well versed on biblical theology. Yeah, it's funny, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, because there was a time when I would have been considered right wing. I consider myself right wing. I actually spent many years volunteering for the Conservative Party and interning for the Conservative Party under Stephen Harper. They got a ton of my money, a ton of my hours door knocking, but I would still consider myself to be conservative. My personal view of what conservatism is. But in the last election, I voted Carney because I was very disappointed with some of the turn that the Conservative Party made over the last since probably, I don't know. I mean, I supported Stephen Harper. I still think he was a great prime minister. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was at the conference in I forget when it was, 2014 in Halifax. And like I said, I have a lot of fond memories of canvassing for a lot of conservative candidates. But I became very unimpressed with, well, first I was unimpressed with the turn of the Conservative Party in the United States with Donald Trump. And then I found too much of that ideology infiltrated us here in Canada. So I switched over. Um, I mean, I think Carney's fighting as much as he can. It's tough to say what you can exactly do in this situation, right? Especially when you have Trump talking about being the 51st state. It's very hard to figure out the best approach to take in response to that. I just try to always think about it from a Masonic perspective and Freemason perspective, and how will these tariffs and these things affect Freemasonry between our countries, right? I talked about that a lot yet the day before. You have fewer and fewer Canadians in general traveling to the States, which affects tourism, which affects the economy, which affects the amount of money coming into communities and lodges. Increased costs for goods and services means people have less discretionary money or less discretionary spending. I mean, I think as a general rule, that's right. I'm not a huge, so I'm a huge free trader as a general rule. That's one of the things I always supported the Conservative Party about, especially Stephen Harper. His, his support of and on free trade and always pushing for it, which I agreed with 100%. Um, I always support free trade. Um, but when you have one country who is pretty harshly taking protectionist measures, then you kind of have to reconsider your free trade position. But for the longest time, free trade was a very conservative ideology and a very right wing idea, and one that I not just ascribe to but still subscribe to this day. I think free trade is a very good thing. But I think in 2025, right now, it makes sense to try to invest more in our own country and even more in our own community, right? Like, we need to care about if a new business opens up, um, a new restaurant, let's say, maybe go see them and see if they are, want to cater some events, get the word out about them as a business, try to support them. One of the things I was most proud of during COVID is all of the work that I did to try to promote businesses to my Masonic brothers, or to give opportunities for work to businesses that were struggling through the pandemic by doing like virtual beer and cheese tastings, where we purchased local beer from a local brewery and did a beer tasting, or whiskey tastings, or creating Christmas packages from local products and sending them to the brothers, all to make sure that these local businesses struggling during COVID still had at least some um, revenues coming in. I mean, I'm not sure about that, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I'm not necessarily sure I'd be comfortable with that as an idea. A couple bed and breakfasts going under in Maine. I mean, certainly it's a big deal for the bed and breakfasts going under, right? They're going to consider it a big deal, as will their families. But, I think it's more than a couple. And I don't want to see any businesses go under unnecessarily. Right? I mean, sometimes, look, there's always going to be economic changes. Part of that means some businesses will go under, some will do well. And sometimes that's just the way it is. But I also think we want to avoid unforced errors. And we as Freemasons, like if you're traveling anywhere, and this isn't about cross-border travel per se, if you're traveling to a Masonic event, you know, a few hours away, consider staying at the bed and breakfast. Eat at the local restaurant, right? Maybe even purchase some gifts from a souvenir shop locally to bring back to your Masonic Lodge brothers, right? I really do think it's incumbent upon us and behooves us as Freemasons to care about and support the communities in which we're visiting. Well, we haven't had the hip hop show yet. That Taco Guy, the hip hop show will be August 16th. So it will be a week tomorrow from 12 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be an absolute blast and a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. Once again, I talk about it's not just incumbent upon us, or it doesn't just behoove us to support local businesses, which we should. It's also about supporting local artists and in the community, and that includes musicians by going and showing off their work, which we'll be doing on August 16th. Well, you can tune in live to it as well, that Taco Guy. So you can tune in to it live as well. I have no idea what a liver cheese sandwich is, but that sounds horrible, even though I love cheese. I used to drive. I do not now. I tend to rely on public transport. That's one thing also when I travel. I always take a lot of pride in using the public transport and public transit systems, again, to save money and to somewhat support the local system. Interestingly, favorite of these four Masonic athletes. So Shaquille O'Neal's in the lead at 57%. Ty Cobb, 14%. Arnold Palmer, 29%. No Jack Dempsey. And Jack Dempsey is a boxer, so he would have been my favorite. Or he is my favorite. But that's fine. So be it. I hope somebody jumps on, though, and does vote for Jack Dempsey. Please take a moment, if you are just joining us, hit that like, subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Patreon. Patreon.com/SquareandCompass. I will just take a moment to remind people of what we have coming up. August 16th, Hip Hop Festival, live stream 12 to 2 Eastern Time, supporting local artists. August 20th, aside from the normal stream at 1 p.m., at 3 to 6, I'll be going on Instagram Live. You can find me Instagram/SquareandCompass Promotions. I'll be doing an Instagram Live on the 20th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Then Thursday, August 21st, starting at 2 p.m., another 24-hour live stream. I'm going to be showing off all of my Masonic items, coins, pins, things that are really special to me, things that I love, and I hope that you guys will love them too. Yes, I agree. We should be investing in our community. And I've talked about, like I said, I talked about that even this morning. You cannot separate this. You cannot separate the condition of a Masonic Lodge, or for that matter, Knights of Columbus, from the success of a. You cannot separate the condition of a Masonic Lodge from the condition of the community in which it's located, and that includes the economic conditions therein. Rockstar King, hello, Rockstar. I hope you're doing well. Let me know how it's going. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. 15 votes. Still no Jack Dempsey is in there. Was he? I used to know this. Not a Freemason. I did not think he was. I wasn't sure. I thought I'd heard people weren't sure, but I don't believe he was. We are talking about Freemasonry, Rockstar King. So if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, please let me know. Answer our poll question. And if you've not done so before, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Was he a president? I think he was, right? I don't know all my American presidents. In my defense, I'm Canadian. So, that's my defense. You say, I don't know what that means. Is that a reference to Freemasonry and you have questions about it? Or thoughts on Freemasonry? And also, on a side note, this weekend, I do hope to it will probably be a midnight movie live stream. It will be an earlier live stream, but a live stream where we do a movie watch along. And really, the reason I want to do it is to test out some things in preparation for my 24-hour live stream. So it's going to be kind of a fun hangout stream with a test. On August 29th, I'll be doing a live stream with Smokey to Clown together, so that will be a lot of fun. The 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern. Yes, Rockstar King, if you should first ask your mom if you have permission to be on YouTube, and second of all, ask your mom if you have permission to like and subscribe, and ask, if you have any questions, or if your mom does. But thank you, everybody who's jumped on. I got a lot of people coming in at the start, which was wonderful to see. Who must pay cash, Carl? I mean, you don't have to pay cash to join my Patreon. You can do it through your credit card. Who's scamming? Did I miss something up here? I see guy in the $10 bill. Well, I have no idea what's happening in the chat. I've lost control. Alexander Hamilton is on American currency. I do know that. And anybody watching this can help me out by going to Patreon, and you can even do a couple bucks a month. Or just join for free. That's appreciated as well. It's fun this morning talking about Masonic sports stars. As you may have heard this morning, if you were there, of these four, the one Mason who was made a Mason on site by Prince Hall was Shaquille O'Neal. He was made a Mason on site. Interesting enough, Jack Dempsey was a Mason out of Chicago. And as somebody who loves Chicago, I thought that was really, really cool. Ty Cobb, and one of them, I think it was Ty Cobb, was a Mason out of Detroit, if I recall correctly. Another city that's close to my heart. You should do whatever your mom tells you to do, Rockstar King. So it's 1 a.m., so I think you should go to sleep. But do what your parents tell you. Do what your mom tells you. Well, that's true. Although by the same token, you cannot always fool an honest man, is a piece of advice I once heard, which is true. If you try to live your life as honestly as you can, you are less likely to get scammed, has been my experience. That's not always true, but I think oftentimes that can be true. Also on Saturday, I want to talk about a lot of personal things that are happening. A friend of mine recently was diagnosed with cancer, and he's having some fundraisers, both online and in-person fundraisers here in Windsor. I'm going to talk about that and how you can support him, things of that nature. Well, I live next door to Caesars Windsor, which is a casino, and Caesars Windsor has free coffee 24 hours a day. And as somebody who is trying to make more money and save money, but loves coffee, I often find myself liberating some coffee from Caesars, which they don't ever seem to mind. Thank you to Caesars Windsor. They're wonderful for that. Normally, I put it in this thermos, which a friend of mine gave me as a gift, which keeps it warm forever, but I didn't have the thermos with me tonight. Actually, tonight, I got to go to a concert at Caesars Windsor Coliseum and check out a Meatloaf tribute band. Oh no, I don't. I show them what I'm doing, and every now and then I will, every about 3 weeks, I gamble $5 to just because I always take their cash, and I never, sometimes I get like $6, sometimes I don't get anything, but I always, every 3 weeks or so, I put in $5. There is not fruit punch in the coffee, Ryan, because I'm not a monster. I'm a human being. But yes, I do drink a lot of their coffee. No, I'm not going to drink them dry because then there'll be no coffee left. I try to be very respectful of the coffee. And also, I go there for breakfast sometimes because they have good breakfasts. It was free. Friends of mine gave it to me. I was really lucky. I've got some really good friends and they gave me a ticket. The last couple shows, I got to go to Jake Owen. Some friends gave me a ticket. And I got to go see this Meatloaf one because my friends gave me a ticket. So it was really, I feel really lucky. I have a lot of really great friends who help me out. It does look like a bingo cup, I know. You're not wrong. I mean, by all means, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, if you want to, you're more than welcome. I've already got somebody shipping me some Black Rifle stuff. But, if you want to, it's Square and Compass, care of 986, care of Windsor Masonic Temple, 986, Willett Avenue. By all means, ship away. That's very kind of you, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Having said that, though, I will say the casino coffee is pretty good. The casino coffee is not bad at all. And even every day from 11 to 12 and from 11 to 12 and 7 to 8, they actually have free fancy coffee at PlaySmart, which is a place where they do a coffee break and it encourages people to take a break from gambling, have a cup of coffee, and maybe if they are experiencing any troubles with problematic gambling, or just to get them out of the habit of just gambling without thinking about it, talks to them about what they're doing, and maybe they can get some perspective and realize, hey, maybe I need to go maybe I need to take a break or leave the casino or whatever it might be. So and PlaySmart has actually done some presentations for me at the Masonic Temple to some of the brothers, which I really, really appreciated. That's very kind of you, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. So everybody watching this, give a few hearts in honor of getting some coffee. I wouldn't bet on that. Carl with the jokes. This will also be a shorter stream because tomorrow I need to I gotta watch my friend's kid, my godchild actually. I gotta watch him for a bit. Then I gotta do my stream at 1 p.m. Then I got some work to do. But it's going to be, as I was saying before, so honey I can accept, Courtney. It's the fruit punch that scares me. And by the way, I think I saw your message, Courtney. I'll send you a message back. I don't know if I have contact information for the gentleman you're asking about. Once I find out, I'll double check. I'm just not positive. The beehive is very Masonic. The bee represents industriousness amongst many Masonic lodges. The name sounds somewhat familiar. I just can't think. If I can find something, I will let you know. And don't forget the other thing you guys can do, and a huge help to me and to my stream, is also taking the time to answer poll questions and comment. And Courtney does this all the time, and it's truly appreciated. To answer poll questions and comment on my poll question and comment on the community section of my page. So, for example, thank you, Carl, for being here. I asked the question, by how much have median home prices risen since the 1970s? Um, was Brother Shaquille O'Neal made a Freemason on site? Inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936, Tyrus Raymond Cobb is considered to be one of the best baseball players of all time. At what age did Tyrus Raymond Cobb become Brother Tyrus Raymond Cobb? Um, Born William Harrison Dempsey, famed boxer Jack Dempsey was a member of Kenwood Lodge, number 800, Chicago, Illinois. In what years was Brother Dempsey the world heavyweight champion? And which golf Hall of Fame member with 94 professional wins was raised a Master Mason in 1959 at the Loyal Hannah Lodge, number 275 in Pennsylvania? So it's one of those chances where, answering those questions, commenting on them, it helps more people find the page. Bees, I agree. I did not know that, Ryan, but I don't mind because honey is still delicious. So I will happily eat bee exuberance, call it what you will. Because I don't want to gross people out, because it's delicious. It's also, to my understanding, the exclusive food that will not go bad over time. Like, you can leave it in your shelf for years, it'll never mold or go bad. So the insides of the bees that become the outsides of the bees must have some cool anti-aging or antioxidant qualities to it. But no, a lot of people don't realize what bees represent is, again, industriousness often. I did not know that. Another fact about Arnold Palmer. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that, Courtney. I mean, it makes sense. I think if anybody would deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award for all of the work that they put into the world. Oh my gosh, too many to get into now. Again, I'm not a huge fan of kind of the more esoteric side of the craft or occult side of Freemasonry. I think it oftentimes overshadows the truly important parts of Freemasonry and gives people excuses to look more inward than outward. I don't even think he was a Mason when he wrote his first book, The Lost Keys of Freemasonry, right? I think he wrote that book before he became a Freemason. I've not read The Lost Keys of Freemasonry, but I'm not a fan of. I think we focus too much in Freemasonry, at least recently, on the esoteric qualities of it. When Freemasonry was truly booming in the 20s and 50s, the esoteric qualities of it were very understated. People were joining not because they wanted to learn some type of secret occult knowledge, which you don't really get anyways. They wanted to be part of a community that made the world better. Oftentimes they were joining as an extension of their military service, right? Like they had fought in World War I, World War II, returned home, wanted to continue service, and wanted to continue being part of a brotherhood. The majority of membership growth in the 1920s and the 1950s were World War I and World War II veterans. So I've not read The Lost Keys to be able to say much more about it. Other than that, he was Canadian, so there's that. So I think, the fact that he did rise through Freemasonry, and I think he got his 33rd degree, or at least he got his 32nd degree for sure. I think he got his 33rd degree. I think it was a sign that a lot of people thought that by trying to refocus on the esoteric qualities of Freemasonry, it would help grow the craft. I don't think it has, though. Who wrote the Hiram Key? My dad read the Hiram Key. Christopher Knight and Robert Lomas. I just looked it up now. My dad read that book, actually. He really liked it. So it's kind of on my list of things I want to read about as well. Because I've not had the chance to yet. But I know my dad really enjoyed it. So those are my opinions. Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Do you have any opinions on Manly P. Hall? I'm not sure if you've read him or not yourself. If you have any thoughts on him and his work. Yeah, I think there's, but in fairness, Ryan, there's been a few golfers who can drink a lot of beer. So I don't know if, um, I don't know if Chuck Daly was alone in that. Let me know when you read it what you think of it. Keep in mind, though, the first book he wrote, The Lost Keys of Freemasonry, he wrote it, I've not read it myself, but he wrote it before he was a Freemason. So I would just say keep that in mind while you are reading his stuff. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be back on at 1 p.m. It'll be a general stream, just a chat, hang out, see who wants to talk about Freemasonry and what they want to talk about. I don't really have any subjects planned right now, although I may go more into the recent article I read about the increasing costs of home ownership. I always recommend for non-Masons, the first book I always recommend is Freemasonry for Dummies. By Chris Hodap. Not calling you a dummy, not calling anybody a dummy, but Chris Hodap wrote it, and it's a great book, and I think it's a great place to start because it gives a really good outline of what Freemasonry is. I would also recommend I'd also recommend for Masons, Sins of Our Masonic Fathers, and Island Freemasonry. Those are they're non-Masons can enjoy them, but I think they have a lot of information for Masons about kind of where in some areas where the craft may have gone wrong, or some of the reasons for some of the struggles we're currently having and potential ways to fix it. And then I also selfishly recommend my Medium page where I've written a lot about Freemasonry. So those would be my recommendations. We talked about this before, Ryan. I'm probably much more comfortable with AI than it seems like most, including most on my channel. I've said this before, I don't believe that we as human beings are inherently special. I don't think by that token we're not special. I don't mean that, I think we should all just go jump off a cliff or something crazy because we don't matter. Like, I think we matter, but I don't think we matter any more than anything else per se. So if you have an artificial intelligence that is fully sentient and wants to be a Freemason, I don't have any issues with that. But I think in the short term, thank you, that taco guy. In the short term, what AI really matters when it comes to Freemasonry is its replacement of Google as a search engine. So, because I've done this before on my Medium page, like 20 years ago, if someone wanted to join Freemasonry, they would Google or just had questions about Freemasonry, thoughts about Freemasonry. They just wanted to know more about it. They would Google, what is Freemasonry? They put that into the Google search engine, and the search engine would spit out a bunch of answers. Now, in 2025, more and more people who want to learn about Freemasonry go to ChatGPT or Grok or an LLM and type in what is Freemasonry, and they get the information from large language models and artificial intelligence. So for right now, what matters most is we need to have a better understanding of how LLMs are trained and how they, what they're saying about us. So every now and then, I'll go on to like ChatGPT and I'll type in, what is Freemasonry? Can you give me the secrets of Freemasonry? What are Masonic rituals? Just to see what it says, because I want to know what it's saying, because I know for a fact that some non-Masons, to learn more information about Freemasonry, are using ChatGPT, whereas 20 years ago they would have used Google, and 20 years before that they would write a letter to their local lodge. Right? So that's kind of the way that is. As well as the other thing to keep in mind is the other danger of AI is potentially lodges using it to create their summons and to create messages, which, I mean, I'm not 100% opposed to, but I worry it will create a very impersonal quality to the messages. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily, to me, whether you type into Google what is Freemasonry or type it into ChatGPT, like it's not lazy per se. If that's as far as you go with it, that's an issue. But if you want to know, like, okay, in what year was Freemasonry founded, you can use Google to jump in there. I'm not going to necessarily concern about it. We've got the hearts. It's the question of what is the data set on which the LLMs are being trained, right? If they're being fed a bunch of information that Freemasonry is satanic, for example, that's what it's going to spit out when asked the question. Welcome, Smokey. I think you sent me a message about Call of Duty on Discord. I have to double check that. Oof. And I got it in my calendar. February 20, sorry. As I'm yawning. Coffee went down the wrong way there. August 29th, 12 o'clock, our live stream on my personal channel. You see what happens when I drink coffee and it goes down badly? Gets stuck in my throat. I can't think of my dates anymore. Again, I guess my question would be, why would it be abominable? I mean, who's to say that our intelligence, it was with our intelligence that we invented the atomic bomb. So intelligence is just a tool that can be used for good things or bad things. Whether it comes from a computer or a human, I don't know why that distinction necessarily matters. There's no guarantee right now, though. I don't think right now we have artificial intelligence in a sense of it being fully conscious or aware as humans are, but it feels like we're getting closer and closer to it. But I think right now what Freemasons need to care about is the extent to which people are using AI to research Freemasonry and, what AI is saying about us through that research. He is a brother. He was made a Mason on site by Prince Hall. So, yeah. Why would it be blasphemous? I mean, if you think about it, again, I'm not a biblical scholar, so I could be way off over my skis on this. God or pick your term, but the Supreme Being gave humans a brain that's capable of learning and creating things. We're capable of creating artificial intelligence, so would therefore not artificial intelligence be created somewhat in God's image in the same way that, we are? God creates us and we create AI. Who's to say? Oh man, I got like a scab here. I don't know where that came from. As soon as I said it, I discover a scab on my arm. So maybe God is actually trying to tell me something, or the Supreme Being is trying to tell me something. Catch your break, Smokey. Or no, they won't let me. Well, I'm very sorry about that. But no worries, Smokey. Thank you for being here. No new tattoos recently. Any new tattoos? Not yet, but I should get some October, November. It's funny, my cat is over here stalking something. There's a fly somewhere in my apartment because when my cat gets like that, it means they're stalking a fly or she's stalking a fly or a spider or something. Alien abductions? Well, Jordan, I do not believe aliens exist, so I cannot be abducted by them. Although I guess if I was abducted, I'd change my tune. Yeah. Well, in some ways, the problem with Jurassic Park is they went backwards in the evolutionary scale, right? They created a less intelligent creature as opposed to AI, which might be creating a more intelligent being. Well, it sounds, Jordan, like you might be believing in alien abduction. What I would say, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but I am saying if you are waking up with new scars or bruises, I hope that you will consider going to a doctor to ask about them. It could be a sign of some other type of medical condition, and you very least want to rule it out, right? Like I'd hate for you to have. There's different conditions that can. I'm not a doctor, but I know there's different conditions that can cause easy bruising, easy scarring. I hope that you will, maybe consider going to see a doctor. Just my suggestion for whatever it's worth. Let's not lobotomize anybody, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Let's not lobotomize anybody. I worked in a jail for a bit. I've never been a super big tough on crime guy, though I think it has its place. But I'm certainly not in favor of lobotomies. I mean, I would still say, and I know you say absolutely ruled out. I don't know if you have gone to the doctors and asked them about it, but I would suggest checking in with the doctor if you develop any of these patterns, geometric pattern bruises or scars. You don't have to. It's just my suggestion. But I'm one of those people who believes you should always go to the. As I've gotten older, I've become a big believer in go to the doctor. Uh, Go to the doctor. Get yourself checked out regularly. You, I think, have a responsibility to care for your health. Me as a Freemason, I think I do for sure. What is 40K? I never heard of that before. Is that where they lobotomize? I mean, I suppose I can think of actually a few commercials or movies, excuse me, where that's like a part of the movie is um, lobotomizing or jails or stuff, but you know, let's not lobotomize anybody. Alien is just another word for visitors. I mean, it can't hurt sometimes, Jordan, to get a second opinion. It's good of you that you went to the VA. I think that that's a very good thing that you did. Um, Maybe get a second opinion because it might be a third thing, right? It might not be you're doing it to yourself. I don't believe that. It might, who knows what it could be. It might not be aliens. It might be some type of condition where they come in that pattern. I don't know, but I do think it's good that you went to the VA. That's something a lot of people, for whatever reason, are scared to go to the doctor. It can take a lot of courage to go to the doctor to talk about things. So good for you for doing that. Um, Look up Warhammer. So we got two gamers on the stream right now, Jordan and Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Um, Maybe we gotta get you guys to play together at some point. Are there like teams you can play on, or are there characters you can be? Like, how does it work in terms of the actual like? I'm trying to think what the word is. The actual like characterization. Did any Freemasons make a spot there? Do the thought of aliens frighten me? No. Well, I mean, since I don't think they exist, they don't frighten me. It'd be like saying the leprechauns frighten me, right? It's like I don't think leprechauns exist, so I'm not scared. If I were to meet an alien, I think I would be scared of it because it's always possible. I could be wrong. Don't It would be fascinating to be alive at the time when alien life is confirmed. on a mass scale. But I think we as humans are capable of messing stuff up enough that we don't need to worry about aliens doing it to us or for us. But I do often wonder if you had an alien civilization on another planet that became intelligent in the same way we're intelligent, would those aliens themselves invent Freemasonry or invent some type of fraternal or service organizations? My suspicion is they would. I think you'd have alien Masonic lodges because ultimately every planet in the universe will evolve under the same kind of conditions as Earth in terms of the physics that dominate Earth. And so there will be certain evolutionary um, designs that are more favorable than others. And if they're designed with similar bodies to us, they'll probably have similar mental capacity, similar perspectives, and are more likely to have similar ideas in terms of creating groups. So if aliens do exist, and it's intelligent life, such as us, then I hope that they have Masonic lodges there. Um, I'm actually a member of a Masonic lodge that is chartered on the moon. They can't meet on the moon, obviously, but uh, Buzz Aldrin was a Mason, and we went to the moon. He brought a charter from Texas. Ways to keep out these a Freemason? That might be something I talk about tomorrow, um, Courtney, because there's a lot of good things to talk about there. But very simply, try to have healthy food after lodge. Try to spend the start of lodge engaged in breathing exercises or even some light yoga. Encourage health outings outside of lodge with your brethren. Um, and bring in presentations from doctors and specialists to talk about different ways to be healthy, including, encouraging less drinking, less gambling, etc., etc. Yes, well, it's called Tranquility Lodge 2000. Tranquility Lodge 2000 out of Texas. Well, unfortunately, let me tell you, if I discovered that Freemasons had communication with aliens, I would not keep that a secret because I don't think we should keep that a secret. I would tell the world, be what it is. And I've been a Mason for 20 years, been over 2,000 meetings, and unfortunately, never seen any examples of Masonic communication. Right? I think so. Here's my view on aliens. I think it's 100% the case, in my opinion, that no alien civilization has ever visited Earth in any form. I think it's 60% likely that there is no life at all on any other planet um, in the universe, but there may be life that is human life or human-like life or intelligent life that exists on other planets, but is at the same level of technology we are or less and cannot escape their solar system or their planet enough to reach us or any other civilizations. And then I think there is a 50% chance that there's no life on any planets at all, not just intelligent, but also just non-intelligent, amoebas or fish or something. So I do think the odds are there is no alien life anywhere in the universe. We are it, which should, I would think, remind us of the importance of treating this earth and ourselves with as much respect and care as possible. Because if we blow ourselves up, that's it. There's no more life in the universe forever and ever. I guess forever is a long time. I am not a 33rd degree, Jordan. I am an 18th degree. But the degree that matters most is Master Mason. If aliens were to communicate with us, they communicate with us through the 3rd degree Master Mason, or at least the Worshipful Masters. And that's something that kind of Freemasonry in some ways reminds me of as well, like the importance of trying to make the world a better place because, we have the capacity to do that. And, if we don't, it's just a very silent, very kind of dead universe, which it's a shame. There's so much beauty in the universe to have no one that could see it. It's like a beautiful painting that no one can see, right? So to look up and see beautiful stars and the moon, And to think of a time when there are no humans that could see it, or no creatures that could see it at all, I think is very, very, very sad. When you were in kindergarten, well, I mean, I don't recall in kindergarten. I know that as we got older, some of our classes, we do this thing where we do exchange students, or, we find a classroom in like Europe and send letters to them or something. Like, I remember some of that type of stuff. Um, so we did some of that, but I think it's just a different kind of tuna when you're talking about interplanetary, because, you know, uh, 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 I just think the universe is so old, 13 billion years old, that if there existed intelligent life that could travel the universe, even if it doesn't exist now but existed in the past, we would see remnants of it. We would see some type of proof of it. There's so many planets and so much space and so much time. The fact that we see nothing when we look out makes me think that there's nothing to see for a reason, because we don't, we're alone. But that's possible. I've heard a lot of people say that. Lex Friedman often says that the issue is we're not leveled up enough to know what we're looking for or understand it. I just don't believe that's the case. I think even though there may, in the 14 billion years of the universe existence, there may have been some civilizations that advanced to a point where they're not easily detectable by us. There would have to be some that hadn't, some that, like, to me, it's got to be either there's a million civilizations or zero civilizations, right? I can't imagine there being civilizations, but so few that we cannot detect any of them at our current level. It makes me scared somewhat for great filters as well, but I think the most likely explanation is we're alone. I've heard that theory before, Jordan. I don't buy that either. I've heard of it. I just think, again, how it's a bit like trying to hide um, the ocean. Like, you're gonna see it eventually, right? There's just, again, so many planets, so much time, and so many possibilities. Some alien civilizations could hide us or hide from us or try to shield us, but not all of them, right? Because in some ways, it'd be more frightening if there existed, let's say, two or three species than existed a million. Because a million makes sense because there's so many planets and so much time for civilizations to develop. When you have like two or three, it seems even more confusing to me. So I don't know. I tend to take what I would describe as the most obvious, like Occam's razor. The fact that we don't see evidence of alien life, I take as meaning at this moment there's no alien life to be seen. Because I just don't think they could hide themselves. There'd just be too. It's like, asking a whale to hide in the ocean. Sooner or later, you're going to see it. See, it's funny. I tend to view things how do I put this? I agree with you, Jordan. Um, I think I agree with what you're saying there. I actually have a tendency to view things a little bit different. I think individual humans can often be quite terrible. I think we are at our best when we are part of groups and when we are willing to subsume our personal interests for the betterment of the group. So I think the perfect example of human greatness is found in football teams. Everybody on that team is not there to be glorify themselves, to be great themselves. Rather, they're not trying to be stars themselves. Rather, they're doing whatever they can to help the team win. So when we're under the direction of a team or a group, I think that is when we're at our best. I think individual people without a group or without a team can often be quite terrible. I think that's oftentimes an evolutionary idea, right? We evolved in groups, so to not be part of a group, I think can cause a lot of psychological and emotional and physical harm to us to not be part of a group. And I think, though, one of the things I love about Freemasonry is, yeah, Freemasonry is another way that people can be the best versions of themselves by being part of something and contributing to a team, and therefore, contributing to something that is greater than themselves. I agree. It has to be under direction, or not even direction per se, but structure. I'd say the structure comes, and then the direction is a subset of the structure. That's interesting that we know more about the moon than the ocean. I did not know that. Makes sense to me. I mean, you think about um, how big and how deep the ocean is, and how little of it we can explore because of the depths and the pressures and all the rest of it. I think that's really, really cool. I saw the previews as well, Courtney, but right now, for me, the movie I want to see the most is Weapons, and then The Long Walk, and then Him. They just dropped the new trailer for Him. It looks incredible. It is, when you think about how much of the ocean, how much of the earth is actually ocean, and how challenging and hard it is to see it. It's fascinating. So I agree. I wonder, I'm just kind of curious. There's some interesting, yeah, but we see them come up and down, right? I don't disagree, like the movie Sphere, um, right, where they find what they find what they think is a spaceship. I don't want to give out the spoilers away in the ocean. Sir Francis Columbine, many years the Right Worshipful Master of Royal Naval Lodge at Bapping, is credited with having raised 600 American captains and 400 British naval officers in 20 years. Old Dundee, its neighbor lodge, had 267 C members, a special classification. I should talk about this tomorrow a little bit. You could even argue my dad is seafaring Mason. Or The Abyss, another great movie. I love The Abyss, one of the best. I would put The Abyss as a better movie than Sphere, but I like them both. Well, there have been Masonic lodges that have met on cruise ships where they set aside space and any Masons who are present will go to a meeting. It's tough to know exactly how they would charter themselves. Like, who would grant dispensation for the lodge to meet at sea? But there have been some. There's even been some Masonic cruises where a Grand Master rents out a boat for a Masonic cruise. So that stuff is really cool as well. Oh, I don't have Netflix, but I'm going to watch my goddaughter tomorrow, and my friend, their mom has Netflix, so maybe I'll be able to watch it then. But I really think 2025 has been one of the best years for content, for movies in, I don't know how long, in decades. So I'm looking forward to that. If spaceships exist and if there's long-term travel, then absolutely, Jordan. It depends how they travel, right? If they have if aliens existed and they were using, let's say, wormholes and traveling, millions of light years in minutes, let's say, they might not necessarily need to have cruise ships, or to have cruise ships, have Masonic lodges. The real question is, an alien lands on Earth, says he wants to be a Freemason. Do you give the alien a application? I would, because I wouldn't want to piss the alien off. Welcome, Rondo. Pirate code dispensation. I'd love to have pirates coded dispensations. 17 votes. Still no votes for poor Jack Dempsey. I feel bad. He'd be my pick. Shaquille O'Neal in the lead at 59%. Ty Cobb 18%. Arnold Palmer 24%. By the way, Jordan, if you've not done so yet, and you can, I hope you'll consider subscribe or following me on Patreon. Patreon.com/square and compass. It would be much, much appreciated. You can do it for free. It doesn't cost anything. I have no idea what I would do in that scenario. That's a better question, though. I will make that a poll question. Absolutely. Thank you for giving me that suggestion because I don't even know how I'd start with that. Like, oh my God. Because there's already so many differences in Freemasonry between, um, Canada and Texas. Like, so the alien wouldn't have, recognition with my Grand Lodge because you never knew he existed. So I guess what you'd have to do is have the alien go to the Grand Lodge on Canada, parts of Ontario. Go to the Grand Lodge. Go actually even before that, probably go to the Committee of Recognition. Explain what their lodge looks like if they have the landmarks as understood by the committee. Get the committee to recommend recognition with the planet Zog, for example, and then bring that recommendation to our Grand Lodge and ask our Grand Lodge to provide recommendation. It would be a process, but it would be fascinating. I do not have Netflix. I do have Prime Video. My personal opinion, the best streaming service out there right now is Tubi, Tubi. I think it is by far and away the best streaming service, and it's free and it has the best scary movies. The second best is a paid service. It's Disney Plus, and then from there it's Prime Video. I appreciate that Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I'll see if I can do that, and I'll let you know. I don't know if I ever created an Apple account before. I'll have to figure it out. Like I said, I don't believe it's going to happen, but if it does, I'll let you know for sure. If I ever discover an alien in my Masonic Lodge, and there are some crazy members, so maybe they do exist, I will let you know, and you can look at joining. But yeah, I think honestly what you'd have to do is you'd have to go and take them to the committee of either your Grand Lodge or the committee recognition. They would have to explain if in their lodge they have a volume of sacred law open, they have exclusive jurisdiction, and if they have adherence to the landmarks, particularly no discussion of politics or religion. Even filling out the membership, how would you fill out the membership? What would be their address? How would they pay their dues? Would they understand payment of dues? Do they have money in their lodge? It would be very challenging, but very fun. It's okay, Jordan. Sometimes you can't click on the link. If you copy and paste, it's a way to do it. You just go patreon.com/square and compass, right? If you type it in, also, how old would the alien be, right? Like, to be a Mason in Texas, you need to be 21 years of age. So let's say you have aliens that it's been alive for 2 years, but they age, 20 times as fast as we do. So his biological age on his planet would be 40, but he's been in existence for 2 years. Does that mean that does he have to wait? But you'd also have those same problems if you have an alien who has never been a Mason on his home planet, but just wants to join, right? Like, how do you know his age? Does he have male and female genders on his planet? Does he know what that means? How do you get an address? How do you get, does he understand paying dues? It would be a super fascinating question, right? Does he believe in a supreme being? What's the nature of the supreme being? Honestly, in some ways, it would be a lot easier if you just got to stand up for 1 second. I got like a wedgie right now. What would be the I'm trying to think of how to put it. If you had already masonry on another planet, it would be a lot easier. And if it did follow all of our rules and regulations somehow, they had some type of volume of sacred law, they had exclusive jurisdiction, and they didn't discuss religion or politics in the lodge, then, you know, you'd assume anybody from the planet who wanted to join Freemasonry here would already have an understanding of what is understood. The issue is, what if, you know, all of that stuff is, excuse the pun, super alien to them? But they've discovered Earth and find Freemasonry fascinating. You know, what do you measure age with? How do you measure gender? You know, you'd assume, what if the aliens, you know, don't have two sexes? What if they reproduce in a whole different way? It would be a very, very interesting and enjoyable discussion, even though I have no idea what the answer would be. I have no idea, Rondo. I have zero idea. What do you think? Would you let Groku join if Masonic Lodge, if he was interested? Let's say, would you let Groku enter a bar where minors are not allowed? Put it that way. What's called the Catholic Church? I don't get the reference. I must have missed something. Sorry, not Man. Would Rondo? Would Rondo let Groku join a Masonic Lodge? I don't know who Mando is. Honestly, I would, just because I wouldn't want to upset the alien. I would be nervous that the alien might decide to have some type of super brain sucking powers. But honestly, I think I would. I tend not to be, you know, not to make a pun, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, but I tend to be more liberal in some ways, and certainly when it comes to Freemasonry, I'd like to try to be as inclusive as I can without impacting on the core kind of ideas. Oh, so Groku is the little Yoda character. I was thinking Groku was some character from Dragon Ball Z for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I would love to have the Mandalorian join because he'd make a great Tyler. He'd keep out all the riffraff, that's for sure. In terms of having a little Yoda, again, he's 80 years old, but he's a minor. So I would say little Yoda, no, because it's obvious that he, based on his species, is still a baby and would not be able to understand the ritual at all. I think the bigger issue would be the opposite way. Been alive for 2 years, but has the maturity of a 40-year-old, right? Then do you say, how do you measure, do you measure it almost in like dog's years or cat's years? But I mean, if I could get Groku in the lodge to then get the Mandalorian in the lodge, I'd probably do it for that reason. I was dunked in water once when I was a baby. Now, it wasn't Catholic church, it was Anglican church. But I was baptized. I don't remember, I mean, I don't remember it, obviously. So I got it done at least once. $18 votes. Shaquille O'Neal is still well in the lead at 61%. Ty Cobb 17, Jack Dempsey 0, Arnold Palmer 22. Still, sadly, no Jack Dempsey. My opinion, though, he's the champ. He was the heavyweight champ for many years. Well, I don't think they waterboarded me, in fairness. Although I do wonder, I think, from what I understand, and again, not a religious expert, a lot of churches now are saying like infant baptism doesn't count in some way because the infant's not making the choice. So, like adult baptism, I understand is considered more legitimate, I think. But I'm not a religious expert, so I could be wrong on that. But that there is some sense to that of like, there's a difference between doing it to an infant who's having it done for his parents' sake or her parents' sake versus an adult choosing to be dunked into water. But, I'm too busy focusing on Freemasonry to join any other organizations or groups in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure what schematics are, but it sounds like you think they are losers, so take that, schematics. I started trading in 2016 or 2017, I guess it would have been. So, it's been a while, and it's been an absolute blast. Once again, I'm not sure if you're there or not yet, but Jordan, once again, I know you were trying to click on the link. It's patreon.com/square and compass. There's no rush, but you can join for free. Oh, Jordan did join us. Thank you so much, Jordan. I truly appreciate that. That stuff helps out big time. All right, but for now, I think I need to get myself to sleep because I got to watch my godchild tomorrow, and they're a teenager, and they think I'm so not cool, and I got to convince them somehow that I'm cool. So if you can let me know how to convince them I'm cool. Like Courtney thinks I'm cool, but apparently you become a teenager, and all of a sudden your godfather, who was once upon a time the coolest thing ever, is somehow no longer cool. Like, what is that about? I think I'm very cool. Thinks my taste in music isn't cool. Thinks my taste in movies aren't cool. Like, Thank you, Courtney. I'm going to tell my godchild that. I'm going to say Courtney thinks I'm cool. But, you're an old man, Courtney, so they're going to think you're not cool either. So, we're both in the same boat. I'm pretty sure everybody over 30 is not cool. And I can't even judge because when I was that age, I felt the exact same way. And I'd say anybody over 25 is old and not cool. So, like, I guess I can't really judge at all. But I still feel it in my heart. Like, I can be cool. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Keeps on Ticking doesn't get that because everybody thinks Mr. Keeps on Ticking is really cool. But, the rest of us are over here suffering under the unbearable weight of uncoolness that is our lives at this point. All right, guys, but thank you all so much. I'll be doing some more questions and stuff on my YouTube tomorrow. I'll be having a 1 p.m. stream. I may talk a little bit about seafaring Masons because it kind of popped up, and that's an interesting topic, I think, worth exploring a little bit. I enjoyed the discussions today a lot. I thought we talked about a lot of really cool things. And if anybody else wants to give the question some thought and give me your thoughts tomorrow. Actually, here's a question, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. I'm not trying to be, make light of any faith of the Catholic faith. So, I mean, this is a genuine question. If an alien came to Earth and asked to be baptized, what would you do? Would you allow for the baptism? I'd be really curious to know what your thoughts would be on that. I will, Mr. Keeps on Ticking, and it is truly, truly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Um, I mean, I love all coffee. Really? The Catholic Church said yes? When were they asked the question? Was it like by the Pope who said it, or was it like an edict? Because basically, at that point, we're saying is the Catholic Church is more welcoming of aliens than of Freemasons. I'm really curious about that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Lapis, thank you. I'll be jumping off stream in a second, but we've been having a real blast. I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. All right, guys, have a great night. I'm gonna go try to be as cool as I can before I see my godchild, and I'm forced to be reminded of how uncool I am. All right, guys, see y'all later.